It's a story that happened quite a few years ago, but I've really never ever forgotten it. We were sitting around the dining room table, as all good families do upon occasion, and I was speaking about the famous saying from the Ethics of Our Fathers, that we should always judge someone else favorably. Even though it might look like he's wrong, it might look like he's doing something that he's at fault, first judge him favorably. And I told the example that I had once heard, a beautiful example, that even a broken clock is right twice a day. I mean, think about it, I told my kids. Even if the clock doesn't work, but twice a day, that time rolls around again. And twice a day it's correct. So judge everyone favorably. And my son, Shmuel, who was about 7 or 8 at the time, looked at me in a strange kind of way. And he said to me, I don't think that's true. And I said, what's not true? And he said, that thing about a broken clock right twice a day? I don't really understand that. So I explained it again. And he looked at me again with the same puzzled look. And he said, I don't really get it. So I said, come on, Shmuel, you're a smart kid. You should be able to understand this. Broken clock, twice a day, rolls around. Even if it's not working, it's still correct. He's still shaking his head. That's not really true. So I was kind of getting a little bit impatient, I guess. And I said, come on, concentrate, focus, think about it. Broken clock twice a day. He still wasn't getting it. I was getting a little, I guess, impatient. And finally he says, come here. And he stands up and he takes me into the other room. And he takes me into the living room and he shows me a clock that we have there. And that clock, I look at it, and the big hand is directly on the 12. But the little hand is directly in the middle between the 5 and the 6. And he turns to me with that little smile and he says, you see, that clock is never right. He was right. That clock was never right. The interesting thing about it was that while we were speaking about judging people favorably, I was not judging him favorably. He said it's a wrong statement. I said there must be something wrong with him. But in fact, he was correct. That clock was never right. You see, it's so difficult to judge people favorably that even when we're talking about it, we're still not able to do it. So many of us are having such a difficulty in doing this. We see somebody else doing something wrong, or we feel we've been wronged, and we have such a difficult time judging other people favorably. It's something that is a really difficult test, and something we all need a lot of practice in. Maybe you've got a favorite story, a favorite idea about what happened, or an experience of what happened when you did not judge someone favorably. Why not send it in? We'd all love to look at it. Then we would all have something to think about.